Welcome to Resource Sessions. I'm Gwendolyn Sterk of Sterk Family Law, and today we have the opportunity to get to know a not-for-profit organization as our hero of the month called Park Lawn, and we have Christina Cerny from the organization. How are you today?
I'm doing well, Gwen. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. So tell us a little bit about what Park Lawn does in our community.
So Park Lawn actually has a little bit of a legacy here on the south side of Chicago. We have been around for 70 years. And Park Lawn is an organization that has programs and resources for adults that have developmental and intellectual disabilities. And so our organization runs resources all the way from day programs to workforce development to 24-hour care, home-based care, and a whole plethora of different services for our participants.
That's very cool. So at what age do you start offering those services for your participants?
Yeah, participants. So actually it's 22 and
Okay.
older, and it's what we call your Park Lawnian for life. So 22 all the way up until death.
Very good. And then if you have a parent that's first listening, and I like to ask this question, and they might have a child who's developmentally disabled and they're 16, what should they be doing? Obviously, they're going to keep that child in the school program until 21. Can you give them a tip about how to reach out and how to start to look at those services that can be offered?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I'll definitely advocate for just planning purposes. If you do have a young adult, I would say, or a teenager that is in the school system, they are bombarded with a lot of resources, which is amazing, a lot of support. And then they age out of the programs and resources and graduate high school at 21. So 22 is really a mile marker for a lot of families where all of a sudden, you got wraparound services and then you're not able to have those any longer. And so reaching out to organizations like Park Lawn, starting the conversation, starting to do your research and some of your visits, whether it's deciding if your participant or your family member is going to be in a day program or you need a little bit more extra care.
Right.
Maybe they're medically fragile. Looking into those programs and programs like Park Lawn to see if you can get resources. I will say this is a huge population and there are a lot of wait lists, unfortunately.
Right.
So it is definitely a need, and the sooner you start planning for that, the better.
Absolutely. And, from a legal point of view, the sooner you deal with the guardianship. So while you can get services through the school until age 21, my position on the flip side of it is, at 18, you can get that eligibility to apply for that guardianship as a parent or a loved one who's going to care for the disabled individual going forward. And getting that in place is helpful as well. And I'm sure you found those situations where they're knocking at your door for help and they don't have that guardianship even in place.
Even guardianship or even population and God bless health, but people are living a lot longer. And so we just had an intake meeting, and the mom was 83, the father had passed away, and their son is in needing services, and he's 50. Right, so you don't think you might even need it at 22, and 23 and 24, but it's that longevity of just that planning purposes, to find out, what if something happens to me and I'm a parent that's aging, and all of a sudden I now have to start thinking about, what services are available for my family members.
Right now, so then your organization actually helps and assists the family, whether it's the day program, a live-in situation with a home, or a placement of something more significant. Is that my understanding is correct?
Correct. Yes, we will provide all wraparound services, and if not referrals to the best program for those needs for those families.
Right. So you operate as a not-for-profit organization. So I'm assuming that while you get some funding, that doesn't complete all the expenses and then help you entail with everything that's going to come forward that you need to be able to supply. Am I correct?
Yeah, you're correct. And unfortunately, there's a percentage differentiator, right, from what Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security, family funded, there's that differentiator to operations on a nonprofit, especially those maybe that are looking at more medically fragile that need 24-hour care, and we run 24-hour care home services and or in our service center, in our center, where you can live 24 hours. So we are a nonprofit, and we are just not only just looking for that differentiator to try to operate and provide the best services, but also provide services and opportunities really for the population of developmentally disabled adults to just thrive and have the same opportunities that anyone else would have, and just make sure they thrive in our communities, because they are our neighbors, they are our friends, they are our sisters, brothers, nieces, and nephews.
That's correct. Now, what geographic area do you service?
So Park Lawn is has a pretty depth of an area here on the south side. We originated in Evergreen Park and Oak Lawn, hence Park Lawn.
Right?
The name back in 70 years
Oh,
ago.
okay.
Yeah. So everywhere from Evergreen Park to Oak Lawn, we have facilities and residents in Chicago Ridge, Crestwood, Orland Park, Tinley Park, and really the south side of Chicago and Cook County, all in whole. That's really our service area.
That's fantastic. Now, let's say that somebody said, look, this population, I have a family member, I need to reach out for you for services, and then we'll get to that in a minute, but I'm interested in giving back. What opportunities exist in Park Lawn for somebody to be able to do that?
Absolutely. And I can't forget my fellow people in Payless as well. So we have
Okay,
a
fair enough.
facility in
Yeah.
Payless. But yeah, so donations are always welcome. We
Right.
definitely can use that, but there's other ways. We always look for referrals, as far as even corporate partnerships and businesses. So if family members or the community, if you have a corporate social responsibility program and you're looking for a local charity to contribute back, we love those type of things. We love volunteering, corporate volunteering and or individual volunteering. We can put you to work, all for the benefit of making those opportunities for our participants. We have two annual events
Okay.
throughout the year. We just wrapped on our golf event, so shout out to Country Club Hills for having us on
Yeah.
Monday. It was a record turnout and was amazing. And then March 7th, we'll be going back to the country club for our largest fundraiser, which is the gala. So participating in those events. And then we have community events throughout the areas. We do have a weekly Queen of Hearts
Oh, fun. Yeah.
game. Yep. And then we also do weekly bingo on Saturdays. So Queen of Hearts is on Wednesdays. Bingo is on Saturdays here at our LaPorte Oak Lawn facility. But a lot of partners are already out in the community working with us and doing different events and different ways you can contribute.
That's fantastic. So is it the same contact information if somebody wants to, one, get involved just to be a service member or to give back, or two, contact you because they need services within their family structure? Is that the same contact?
It's the same contact. Our website is available to kind of decipher a little bit more if you're looking for more particulars.
Yeah.
But no, it's the same contact. You can contact me. Our development office will make sure that we also route you to where you need to go, whether it's social services or programmatic services as well. So we will make sure that everything, every part of the community is welcome, and we're able to filter that out.
Right. And I really want to go back, and I know we spent the time on the not-for-profit element, but I really want to go back to urge people, you don't know what life is going to bring, right? And you
Correct.
get the developmental disability, and sometimes you see it more in the minority, and as you explained later in life. So that pre-planning and getting to know that information, I think, is really critical. So it's my understanding you also have some educational programs where you're actually sitting down with the people. I mean, they can do that through your services, but to get to know what they need to know, right? You don't
Absolutely.
know until you really research it, right? So can you express those details a little bit for us?
Yeah, absolutely. And getting to know is kind of overwhelming, right? And pre-planning is so important. But contacting us, you can we welcome the community to participate in our day services if they're in consideration for our program. We're never ever going to do a blind date. We're always going to make sure that it's right for the participant and right for the family members and right for us, right? As
Sure.
a working team in collaboration. So you can come visit our day services. You can shadow our center and come and look at that residency. One of the things I always enjoy is what I call the fraternity and sorority houses out in the community. So these
Okay.
are independent houses that are your neighbors in the communities in which we live, and they would have a group of probably 5 to 6 independent um, um, development disabled adults that are working together and living life just the same as we would. So you can have dinner with them at any one point as well. Just to also make sure that this is the right home and right place for you. These are our most precious loved ones that, when you're looking at this type of care, it's really important to make sure everybody everybody in the group is feeling comfortable and safe, and we want to provide the best services we can.
That's fantastic because I think that that is a fear factor for people, right? You get that paralysis. We see that in our world, in legal world, but we also see it in the disabled field. You've got to make that call. You've got to see what options are available and what matches for you. So, speaking as an attorney, knowing the importance of planning for this from a legal perspective, whether it be the guardianship, planning on the economic side, what are your options? Those things need to be researched, but also Christina, you make a great point. Going out and seeing what's available and what options are because people don't know, right?
Right. Right. They don't know. And again, it's more than me just sitting here talking to you or watching a video, right? Like again, with any type of care that you're going to have for any individual, it's important to kind of touch, taste, and feel, as I like to call it,
Correct.
to be able to get those services because what might feel great and look great on paper for you might not be right for, your family member. And it's truly a scary time, whenever you have to like switch a
Mhm.
provider or switch resources. And so the best, to your point, Gwen, it's the best thing to do is to do it when you're not in crisis, when you're not in, a hardship, when you're not, life isn't throwing, rain at you, at your face. It's
Yeah.
really a time when the calm, that's when you need to start looking into these opportunities. So that way you can make the best judgment and the best decision.
100%. Couldn't agree with you more. Well, I have to tell you, I think that Park Lawn's a great organization. I encourage people on two levels. One is if you want to give back, what a great opportunity if you want to be a corporate sponsor. We've heard about their events throughout the year, but also if you're a family listening today, because a lot of times we get those listeners and they're paralyzed, they don't know where to start. Pick up the phone and call. Call us. We'll give free consultations. Call Park Lawn because they're going to be able to answer those questions and help guide you through that next step. So, Christina, we thank you so much for your time and we appreciate all the efforts that you do for our local community.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having us, and thanks for the work you guys are doing in the community as well.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.